year, and then of course you saw her reiterating the fact that was disrespectful. You know, she came out to answer the question, do the press conference and all of that, but come on, there are certain questions you don't just ask, and there are ways if you must ask those questions for you to ask those questions professionally.
Yeah, I don't think there's nothing a woman hates like the paternity of a child being questioned.
Truly.
But yes, I think that's pretty much it for the viral trends.
Yes, that is it. Of course, we'll step out now. We'll come back. It will be time for the paper review and the segment. Stay with us.
Stay with us.
Nigeria's economy, the global markets, what does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the Main Street and of course, the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Business Lens with me, Faith Daffer Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
From the soil beneath our feet to the tables across the world, agriculture is the heartbeat of Nigeria's future. Yet challenges persist: limited finance, outdated methods, policy gaps, and untapped opportunities. The Green Line is here to change that. A groundbreaking weekly television feature that connects policy with practice, farmers with markets, and innovation with impact. We dig deep into the full agricultural value chain, from land preparation to mechanization, financing, food preservation, exports, and beyond. The Green Line isn't just a show, it's a national development platform. Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. only on Rapid TV, Star Times Channel 176, and online at www.rbnradiotv.com.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's still Rapid. Well, why are you dancing?
It's a happy day. It's Wednesday.
Wow. Welcome to Rapid Dawn right here on Rapid TV. We're getting right into the review of the papers, and we're starting with the Punch newspaper. And the headline on the Punch newspaper talks about Wike again, convention. Wike's camp demands ignite fresh PDP feud. Wike's camp demands ignite fresh PDP feud. Makinde's camp, party governors, but reject FCT ministers' convention conditions, Damagun's removal, and others. Right, 2025 revenue target met. No more borrowing. This is from President Tinubu. You know that trend on Twitter that says Chakam? We have screenshots it this now. It's you that say no borrowing. We don't want to hear that we had to go to the IMF or we had to go to the World Bank to get loans to service whatever. But this is what the president says, and we're going to be holding him by his words. Customs intercept firearms, 4,841 ammunition in Southwest. Wow. If you see the picture on your screen, you see the bullets and the ammunitions that were displayed there. Now, the National Assembly cautions WAEC on planned CBT rollout. And 3 Lagos laborers found dead in makeshift apartments. Wow. Atiku slams the federal government as bandits sack Kwara village. Let's look at some other headlines. Again, the Southwest tops as voter pre-registration hits 2.5 million. And tariff war. Respect state electricity regulators. The federal government warns the discos. And CNG price from yesterday, which was 330.
Yes, around that.
Today we have 450 per square meter as the federal government withdraws subsidies. My question is, you would have just left the people to be battling with their fuel.
You know.
Now, this is looking like it will keep increasing because in a period of how many days we have like almost 100 naira increase for CNG. Which way? What are we doing?
And this is supposed to be a measure to cushion the effect of transportation here in Nigeria, especially because of the removal of the fuel subsidy. And so if this keeps going higher and higher, it's also going to be a problem for Nigerians.
What are we doing?
It's an alternative. Right now, it's no longer being an alternative. Crazy.
All right, that's the much we can take on the Punch newspaper. Too well to explore the headlines.
Let's move straight to the Daily Independent. Recapitalization. Nigeria's mid-tier banks under pressure as 2026 deadline nears. Talk about the convention for the PDP. PDP governors, leaders talk tough. Dare, Wike, others. And Independent marks 70th anniversary of free primary education with public lecture awards. Tinubu has abandoned North Central to bloodshed. Atiku making that very statement. They're saying Tinubu has abandoned North Central to bloodshed. And Tinubu's government infrastructure report misleading exposes administration. This is coming from the coalition ADC. Nigeria committed to security, stability in Gulf of Guinea. This is a statement made by the Vice President of Nigeria, Shetima. Akwa Ibom, Kano, Sokoto lead INEC in-person registration, talking about the continuous voters registration. Akwa Ibom, Kano, Sokoto lead INEC in-person registration. No more borrowing. We've met our revenue target, says Tinubu. No more borrowing. We've met our revenue target, says Tinubu. Maybe if we look at the details of this particular story, we might get to find out for how long that the borrowing will stop. Maybe in the next budget there might be room for more. But of course, he has said right now there's no more borrowing. We've met our revenue target, says Tinubu. And Tinubu reverses recent appointments, reinstates DG NTA. Nigeria needs evidence-driven, locally relevant health financing. This is coming from party. These are many more you can find on the front page of the Daily Independent.
All right, let's look at the Guardian newspaper. And the headline on the Guardian newspaper says, Tinubu parleys CPC group and says revenue target met amid data gaps. And enough is enough. PDP governors tell Wike dismissed threat to abort convention. This is a step that I think should have been taken a long time ago, because this guy is just dictating to a political party that he's not the only member of. And he's not the head of the political party even. That's the most surprising thing. You are working for another political party, but you are demanding some sort of respect, reverence, and you want a certain level of foothold in the political party. It doesn't make any sense. And one question I will keep asking, is he bigger than the entire political parties?
I mean, they've not been able to give us that answer.
Yes, if he's bigger than the party and the party have accepted that one man in the party is bigger than the entire party, then they should keep at it. But if he is not bigger than the party, then the party should take a stand and demand that he falls in line. This guy, from all indication, does not like to follow instruction. He doesn't like to submit to authority, and that's a problem.
No, he has said severally that he's fighting, for the right things, especially when it concerns the party. Talking about the party following the constitution of the party. And in 2023, that was something that he held on to so much. But of course, talking about the convention that is supposed to be held in November, he has made so much demands. And the PDP are saying, well, these demands are quite unreasonable at this point in time. But what are they really going to do to Wike at this point? And the PDP have really not shown that they can either reprimand him or caution him. I mean, there's been talks of caution here and there, but no action really has been taken on Wike as the FCT minister, as also a member of the People's Democratic Party. He's been there, and seems like whatever thing he says, has an upper view, has with a high chance of being, considered. Yeah.
Okay.
In the party.
All right. But they have thrown out that one. Let's see how far he goes if he shakes in his chair. But yeah, ADC accuses Tinubu of nepotism as Atiku decries rising insecurity. Now, CVR Osun maintains lead with 474,372 as INEC registered 2.5 million in 2 weeks. Opposition seeks legal redress for Rivers local government poll irregularities. Saw that one coming. And the court voids mandatory 15-year service requirement for soldiers. We see also that the Defense Headquarters denies armed forces supporting payment of criminal groups. Because again, we had a story that was trending on social media that the Defense Ministry or the force was accused of paying terrorists or paying criminal money to criminal groups. And I saw that report. I think it was sometime this morning that I saw the report. It's the same thing with Shell. Shell also admitted in court to paying $1.1 billion in bribes for oil blocks in Nigeria. And this came to a lot of Nigerians, maybe not as a shock, but why will institutions that are meant to protect the lives and property of people now start to parley with criminals and even support payment of what do we call it now? Of ransoms to criminal groups and what have you. People that are supposed to firmly kick against it. But they've come out to deny it. And you know this will be on for, a period of time. But as soon as we have updates on the story, we'll keep updating the public. Now, the federal government lists 91 public firms for privatization. That's an interesting column you want to look into. I mean, something, of course, seeing the conversations that have followed on the social space, you would know that organizations like the Discos, probably complete privatization, maybe the oil and gas industry, that's the NNPC, or private privatization, just so that we can see some level of efficiency, if that will solve the problem at all. But yes, check out that column. It's on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. And Dangote Refinery export first gasoline cargo to the US. These and many more you will find on the Guardian newspaper. Please do well to grab a copy and explore the stories. They're quite interesting ones there.
On Daily Trust, thugs disrupt Katsina elders meeting as rather leads stakeholders to Tinubu. And Tinubu sets aside NTA appointment, records DG ED News. Obasanjo Abdusalami Jonathan push for accessible healthcare in Nigeria. And fresh quake in Afghanistan as death toll rises to 1,400. President meets CPC bloc, says Nigeria not borrowing locally. And PDP insists on convention despite new demands from Wike's camp. Experts predict Naira stability. CBN injects a fresh $50 million. And the Super Eagles hit camp for World Cup qualifiers. These are many more you can find on the front page of the Daily Trust.
All right, let's look at the Nation's newspaper. The headline there says, from Tinubu, we have met 2025 revenue target and gained stability. Yet again, the government diversifying to agri, non-oil sector. Abbas Al-Makura lead Buhari's men in pledge support. Wike camp give conditions for PDP convention to hold. Group insists on Congress rule of law. We can't be intimidated, says Bala Mohammed. Ex-IGRA served with honor dignity, says Jonathan Ehindero. Let's also look Shetima to President. I won't take your bond for granted. I won't take our bond for granted. Lagos to host electric power boat championship, and adjusting varsity lecturers withdraw services over unpaid salaries. Nigeria braces for cyber digital diplomacy, says Tigger. I think 60-year-old delivered of babies at Abuad teaching hospital. 60-year-old. That's amazing.
It is.
That's amazing. And then we see that BPE to list 2 Discos and Gencos on stock exchange. These and many more you would find on the Nation's newspaper. Please do well to grab a copy. And I think I just take the business day.
All right.
The business day says that modular refineries bleed over logistics and crude shortages, and BPE to list 2 Discos and 1 Genco on stock exchange as 312 billion naira revenue for 2025 amid reform push. stakeholders or shareholders to get 3.18 per share naira in Providus Unity Bank merger. Yes, and I see that the CBN has approved the merger between those banks. So yes, this is it. This is what we have on a Business Day newspaper.
Let's wrap up with This Day newspaper. Bureau of Public Enterprises, that is BPE, to list Genco to disclose on stock market through IPO as they keep the identity of companies involved confidential. Visa revocation action meant to protect American citizens, says U.S. Embassy. And Wike's team moves to wreck PDP convention, list conditions, governors threaten showdown. The Magum National Convention, sacrosanct, silence, not act of cowardice. All right, so go ahead and speak or act. So, and 2027, the Buhari organization backs Tinubu, declares loyalty. And Tinubu says Nigeria has met revenue target for 2025, no more borrowing. What this means for Nigeria, well, we're going to find that on page 9 of This Day newspaper. And President dismisses pressure from Trump's tariffs and stresses commitment to economic stability, food security, and justice. China hosts massive military parade in message to America. Well, these are the headlines you can find on the front page of This Day newspaper. And I think this is all we can take on the paper review segment this morning. We'll go out on a quick break. When we'll come back, it will be time for the human angle story. Just stay with us.
Nigeria's economy, the global markets, what does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the main street and, of course, the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Business Lens with me, Faith Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers at the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impact they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
From the soil beneath our feet to the tables across the world, agriculture is the heartbeat of Nigeria's future. Yet challenges persist: limited finance, outdated methods, policy gaps, and untapped opportunities. The Green Line is here to change that. A groundbreaking weekly television feature that connects policy with practice, farmers with markets, and innovation with impact. We dig deep into the full agricultural value chain, from land preparation to mechanization, financing, food preservation, exports, and beyond. The Green Line isn't just a show, it's a national development platform. Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. only on Rapid TV, Star Times Channel 176, and online at www.rbnradiotv.com.
From the heart of Africa, where dreams are born and passion is boundless, a new wave of talent rises. In Mali, Liga, these extraordinary athletes are not just playing the game, they're transforming it.
Danny Rodriguez, the man chasing, it's Lamine Yamal! What a magnificent goal that
They
is!
shine on the world stage. Watch as they redefine football, inspire millions, and make history. La Liga, where dreams become reality.
Long before modern banking, vaults or even safety deposit boxes, the Amazi people of Morocco had already cracked the code on wealth management. Welcome to the world of Iguda, the forgotten banks of North Africa. Built over 500 years ago, these fortified granaries weren't just for storing food. They were community banks, preserving gold, silver, contracts, and heirlooms across generations. Perched atop hills and nestled deep within the Anti-Atlas Mountains, the Iguda were architectural marvels, thick stone walls, wooden doors, and guarded towers all served one purpose: security. Each family had its own compartment, locked and etched with unique tribal symbols, accessible only by them. And just like today's bank managers, a designated guardian oversaw the safety of every stored item. More than just buildings, the Iguda reflected a deep trust system, a structured way of managing community resources, centuries before banks became institutions. Though many remain hidden from global awareness, these granaries are still in use today. They stand not only as cultural landmarks, but as proof that ancient civilizations were anything but primitive. They managed wealth, protected legacies, and structured the future long before banking had a name. Iguda, the original vault of wisdom. Every now and then, a story of resilience becomes a movement, and in the heart of Nigeria's military barracks, one such story was born, the story of Mami Market. Today we go back in time to explore how one woman's determination to support her family sparked a revolution that now defines community life across our nation. Our story begins in 1959 at the Abapa Army Barracks in Enugu. A woman named Mami Maria Ochefu, a wife, mother, and quiet force of nature, decided to sell a local millet drink known as kunu or enyi to soldiers. Her goal was simple: feed her children, support her home. What she didn't know was that this humble act will shape Nigerian social enterprise history. Her drinks were widely popular, so popular that they attracted the attention of officers. But not all attention was friendly. Her unit commander shut the business down, citing hygiene concerns. But the soldiers rallied. They demanded their kunu. The regiment's sergeant major listened and allocated her a small store. That moment the birth of the first Mami market. Her husband, Major Ochefu, was transferred to different cities, Kaduna, Zaria, Ibadan. Mami Maria went with him, rebuilding and expanding the market concept at every stop. Other women followed suit. Over time, the name Mami Market became synonymous with community, survival, and entrepreneurial spirit. She later formalized the name and registered the business in Lagos. But Mami Market didn't stop at Kunu. It grew into a vibrant ecosystem, offering food, clothes, electronics, and even salons and phone repair shops. It became a space for bonding, laughter, business, and for many survival. From NYC camps to university hostels, Mami markets became cultural fixtures across Nigeria. Mami Ochefu's legacy lives on, not just in products sold, but in lives empowered. The Nigerian Army Officers' Wives Association, NAOWA, drew inspiration from these markets, launching childcare programs, vocational trainings, and health services in barracks across the country. Think about it. From a drink stall in Enugu to nationwide economic hubs, all because one woman refused to sit back and let poverty win. That's the real power of community. That's the heart of Mami Market. So the next time you stop by a Mami Market, whether for a cold bottle of Zobo or a quick haircut, remember you are walking into legacy. One sip, one stall, and one bold woman at a time.
Funmilayo Ransome Kuti. Before feminism had a name in Nigeria, there was Funmilayo Ransome Kuti, educator, activist, and fearless lioness. Born in 1900 in Abeokuta,
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. It's still Rapid Dawn right here on Rapid TV. And my name is Martha Alu. You can call me Martha.
And I am Victor Ake. Welcome to the Human Angle segment.
Yes, the Human Angle story is where we give you real life issues. And from the smile on our faces, are you smiling? Smile. From the smile on our faces, you see that this is an interesting conversation. Of course, I don't know if the right she fought for was a good one. It was good at the time.
I think it's still good.
It is good. Still. It is still good, but I think it's been abused a lot in society today. But Rukmabai is who we're talking about. Rukmabai wrote, she's the first Hindu woman to legally obtain a divorce. You see where we're going with this. Divorce, not necessarily a bad thing, because if you are very conversant with the Indian society, you would see that in India, the rights of women are really are not always that much upheld. At least it's seen in their soap operas, in their dramas, in their movies. They'll tell you about how women had to fight for their rights, the right to go to school, the right to speak in public, the right to be even found in public places. right? So it was a lot. I know that in Nigeria we talk about the rights of women, but some countries had to fight real hard to get to the point where they are right now. And exactly why it looks most times like a lot of women are hostile is because if you read histories like this, or if you understand some of these stories, it makes you see what was obtainable at the time. And it makes you think, if I was at that time, I probably would never have survived any of the things that these people had survived during their time. But yes, Rukmabai from 1864 to 1955 was an Indian physician. You know what it means to be a doctor in a country that, you know, most women do not go to school. She's a feminist and she's a social reformer. And she became one of the first practicing women doctors in colonial India after Dr. Kadmabini, and is remembered for a landmark of legal case that challenged child marriage laws. She was forced to marry a person, refused to get into the home of the person, and then eventually went to court, and a whole lot of other experiences had followed at that time.
If you look at that story, at the age of 11, that was when she was forced into that marriage. Come on, 11 is rather too young for anybody to get married, you know. But of course, she had to stay with her stepfather, who, lucky enough, her stepfather was someone out of many Indians who believed, you know, in education and also believed in female education, even as at the 1800s. You know, I think that gave her an advantage. That gave her a good foothold, because she couldn't. She refused to stay in the house of her husband. But after some years, the husband wanted, you know, to bring in some consummation into the marriage. Conjugal duties have got to start. We were married. We got married while we were 11. I had left you. Now you're grown. It's time for you to be a wife.
Perform your duties.
Exactly. But of course, one of the things she said, it is rather for her to remain with her stepfather, go to school, than to be with a man that she didn't love. Right? And of course, again, it just reminds us that if we're in the right environment, even if every other person is doing it wrong, that right environment gives you an advantage to do things better. And that is the case of this. Exactly.
All right, let's go see who Rukmabai is.
In 19th century India, society dictated that women had no voice. But one woman refused to accept her fate and paved the way for generations to come. Rukmabai Raut, a pioneer of women's rights. Rukmabai Raut was born in 1864 in Bombay into a society where a woman's life revolved around her husband and home. At the age of 11, she was married to Dadaji Bikaji, as was customary at the time. But Rukmabai was no ordinary girl. Even as a child, she was deeply influenced by her stepfather, Sakaram Arjun, a progressive doctor who valued education for girls. Unlike most girls, Rukmabai refused to live with her husband. She chose to stay at her stepfather's home and focus on education instead of accepting a life dictated by outdated traditions. In 1884, her husband filed a case against her, demanding that she return to him. What followed was one of the most famous legal battles in colonial India. The case, known as Dadaji v. Rukmabai, sparked nationwide controversy. It questioned the rights of women and the legitimacy of forced child marriages. The court ruled against Rukmabai, ordering her to live with her husband or face imprisonment. But she stood firm and declared, "I would rather go to jail than live with a man I do not love." After years of public debate and international coverage, the case ended in her favor. It not only highlighted the plight of women, but also contributed to the eventual passing of the Age of Consent Act in 1891, raising the minimum age for marriage. Rukmabai's journey didn't stop there. Determined to make a difference, she traveled to England and earned her medical degree from the London School of Medicine for Women in 1894. She returned to India as one of the country's first female doctors and dedicated her life to treating women, especially in underserved communities. Rukmabai's defiance against injustice and her contributions to society as a doctor made her a true pioneer. She not only transformed her own life, but also laid the groundwork for generations of women to follow. Her story reminds us that change begins when someone has the courage to say no to injustice. I would rather go to jail than live with a man I do not love. Do you know someone who has broken barriers like Rukmabai? Share their stories in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories of extraordinary women. In
All right, you can see that that's an interesting story, and I loved it. Not just because she was fighting for the rights of women, but because she was fearless enough to do that.
Truly.
At the age of 11, imagine an 11-year-old knowing exactly what they wanted. Imagine an 11-year-old nephew saying, I'd rather go to jail than do this.
Truly.
Like, how did you get that audacity?
Yeah.
But you see, when your environment, when you see certain things in your environment,
Yeah.
I think there are people that are just born with an innate ability to kick against the norms, or to fight or to stand against things that are not right, or things that they don't like. And Rook Mabaya Raut happens to be one of these people. I love the fact that she did not only win the case, because of course she lost the case, first of all, and the court said, since you have lost the case against your husband, you are going to have to go to jail. It's either you go to your husband's house or you go to jail. Rook Mabaya said, I would rather go to jail than go to my husband's house. And then I think they were going to send Rook Mabaya to jail until Queen Victoria intervened, and the official marriage age was changed. I think it was 10 years at the time. And
No,
it was,
it was 11 at the
It was
time.
11 at the time and was moved to, I think,
sure.
15. No, it was moved from 10 to 12.
To 12.
After that case happened. But I mean, you'd see that the numbers kept shifting, Adrian kept shifting, because a lot of people also continued from where Rook Mabaya had stopped. More women joined in the campaign to fight against child marriage in places like India. And it's so unfortunate that till date, we see these things still happening in the world. In places like Pakistan, in fact, I saw a video this week, a video where a 10-year-old was already pregnant. I was wondering how that was possible.
A 10-year-old?
Yes, she was in the Pakistani market, and her face was covered, you know, and she was pregnant, wearing the sari and all of that.
Is our body system, you know, equipped to give
Equipped
birth?
to do that. Maybe we would have the video, because I have the video saved on my phone, because it was very, it was somehow.
It is.
To see that someone at that age, but in Pakistan till date, there's still what we call child marriage in Pakistan, up till date. And we're still battling it here in Nigeria, where we have seen a 60-year-old taking 12-year-olds as brides. And people, educated people, still come out to say it's their choice. Really? It's their choice.
It's crazy, some of these things. But, you know, when we see these things happen over and over again, it's just crazy, because these are things that we think and expect that in this era it should have gone extinct.
Yeah.
You know, but going back to Rook Mabaya's story, you know, one of the things that stood out for me is that even after she won the battle, she didn't go back home to relax, to say, well, we've won this battle. She continued to break various barriers, because she's someone who was determined to show that there's a lot more that women can do, you know, other than being forced into marriage and begin the procreation journey once they have age. You know, and that's something that lots of people need to understand. If you're fighting for a certain right, don't just remain at a level. Ensure that you're breaking barriers, either in career, you know, because of course she became one of the doctors, one of the female doctors in India, and she was very instrumental to a lot of other movements that, you know, helped shape the mentality and mindset of that particular nation. You know, imagine the Marriage Act being revisited because one person stood up to say that, well, this is not right. Even as a young person, she understood that this is not right, this is not the way to go. And I think it's important that as parents too, as you're training your children, ensure that you give them that freedom to express themselves. Because a lot of times in our world and generation, even in our society today, we have many parents who wants to shut down their children because they are young, because they are 10, they are 8, you know. But an 8-year-old child can actually give you an idea that could transform your own industry. You just might be amazed. But if you're able to give them that freedom to express themselves and get to listen to them, you get to find out that these people might be young, but there are some young people that have, you know, aged wisdom that you can never really find in a lot of persons that are older than them. And that is one of the things we can find in the story of this Indian woman who was the first person to file for divorce. And she did that because she had a future, she had a vision of something that she needed to do for herself, you know. It doesn't need to be a fight, you know, war, struggle, anything. She just knew
what she wanted.
Yeah, this is what I need, and this marriage is not it for me at this point in time. I don't even love this person. I don't even understand what marriage is all about. Why force me to marry the person? Why force me to live with the person? And then why force me to leave all of my dreams and aspirations aside
and just
for marriage?
And you made a very valid point where you said parents should also be able to allow their children to express themselves.
Right.
Imagine that Rukmaba's stepfather kicked against her, because Rukmabai lost her father at 2.
Right.
Imagine that her stepfather kicked against it, but because he was also exposed, right, it made it easy for him to say, you know what, if this is what you want, then we're going to give you what you want. And he supported her every step of the way. Now, I know that there are certain things that society can dictate, but as human beings, we have a better sense of judgment. We have a good sense of judgment. So if everyone is saying this is the norm, but you know that this is not, even if something is the norm, okay, let me use the most basic example. Eating food every day is the norm. You have to eat food. But when someone says, I'm not hungry today, I don't want to eat.
Right.
It's important that you respect the choice of that person.
Simple.
Because many other things would have influenced that choice. They are probably fasting, they're probably trying to watch their weight, or they just want to skip a meal because they don't feel like it. But some of you parents, you flog that child until they go back to eat. But it's important because, I mean, at that age, especially when the child is at an age where they cannot decide for themselves whether they want to eat or not, especially because nutrients is very important.
It is.
And they don't know it, but you know it better than they do, right? So it's important to have an environment that is able to support your dreams, that is able to support you. So regardless of the fact that the entire country of India was supporting child marriage, obviously it's the women that kicked against the child marriage and what have you. Rukmabai's father respected the wishes of his child.
Right.
Now, it's a two-way street, very tricky. Not every time you have to respect.
No, not every time.
But when you see, due to your better sense of judgment, that this is something that you should uphold, then it's super important.
Exactly.
After Rukmabai wrote, a lot of other women came out and started doing things. The likes of Savitri Bai, she was the first female teacher. And then she went on, in India, and she went on to build a school for girls. So this happened in, I think, 1831 to 1897. She's India's first female teacher, and she opened schools for girls and marginalized community with her husband, Phule. Then we have Panditya Ramanbai, social reformer, established the Saharda Sedan for widows and destitute women. So more women started to spring up to address different areas of pain of other women within the Indian community or the Indian society. Indian women were marginalized. In fact, there are movies that you should go watch. Rukmabai is a movie. You can see a movie, Rukmabai, that can help you explain the story and the extent to which this was. Then you'd be able to appreciate the fight of Rukmabai Raut.
And truly, you see how her decision actually set a precedent for a lot of persons to begin to do amazing stuff.
Certainly.
Now, you see some of the women you just mentioned, they followed through that route.
Yes.
And they were also able to bring in lots of solutions in India.
Yes,
imagine they never fought against it. Imagine that they were all pinned down and not given a voice. So these people basically set a history to show that, listen, every voice matters. And really it's important that we allow the voices of individuals, women and men as well, to thrive in places they ought to thrive. In this part of the world, I think we've had an argument a few times, especially in workplaces where it seems like women are marginalized in offices. If there are offices like that still exist in Nigeria, organizations that exist, that shuts down the voices of women, I think is the wrong thing that you're doing. Many women actually has what it takes to move organizations to the greatest of height, if you can just give them that opportunity to express themselves and talk. And so yes, good precedent, good history. It's important that you pay attention to these things, and you never can tell how far one decision can actually cause a change in generations to come.
Exactly.
Just like the story of Rukmabai.
Till date, I don't think anyone has been able to override that which was done by Professor Dora Akunyili in NAFDAC.
Right.
She was a very proactive person. When she occupied that position, she did a lot within the industry.
Truly.
So we have seen women like her. We have seen a lot of women who have broken the norm and have done multiple things to liberate women and also put them on the map. But the most important thing for today's story is the right of everyone is important, man or woman, male or female, boy or girl. The right of every human being is important, and freedom of choice should not be taken from anybody. Although Rukmabai was fighting for the rights of women within the Indian community, there are certain areas that men are marginalized as well, even though it is like...
Really?
Quite, they're not as many as that of a woman. We're not doing a back and forth or a tug of war now. But yes, the truth is there are certain areas that women are marginalized. Are there areas that men are marginalized? If
course.
yes, it's important for us to respect the rights of people and give them the freedom of choice. At least that's the least you can do for them as a human being. And I think this brings us to the end of the Human Angle stories for today. We'll be heading out now, and we'll be holding space for Emmanuel and Eva. They'll come and hold the space themselves. At 8:30, they will give you updates on sporting activities in and around the world, of course, and still telling you about the woeful fail of Arsenal in their last match.
And that wasn't woeful. We almost drew.
The fail of Arsenal and the too much noise they're making everywhere.
Not to worry.
You know what I'm saying?
Not to worry.
You see, so they've told you guys you need to be extremely careful. Otherwise, if you don't get it now, you're never going to get it again.
It
and
just
I
might
think
be our season.
Patience is a virtue, and I think Arsenal fans, they really like it.
No, we don't lack patience. As a matter of fact, Martha, if you date an Arsenal fan, trust me, your heart is secure.
Secure where?
Your heart, we are the
people
most
just
patient people.
They just won one match, 5-0. They made noise everywhere. The first match that you guys played.
Our first game against Manchester United, we won 1-0.
Okay, 1-0. Then the second one.
I think we won 2-0.
No, which one?
5-0.
5-0.
Oh, you were there. Oh, chop
see?
knuckle.
5-0. They're making noise.
The thing is this.
Now they failed.
No, we didn't fail. We celebrate every win. And that's again why I said, if you did an Arsenal fan, they celebrate every win and they secure your heart with or without trophy.
That's what they tell themselves. That's what they tell themselves.
But of course, we just might be lifting the trophy this season. Our fingers are crossed and our hopes are high. And yes, Arsenal might just make us all proud. And yes, we will shock a lot of you guys that don't believe in us.
There he goes again.
Yeah, of course.
They will shock you.
Well.
Don't worry about it. But anyways, guys, we'll be back at 9 o'clock for the big conversation. Of course, it's women, it's girls, and you want to be a part of that one. Keep it locked in.
From the soil beneath our feet to the tables across the world, agriculture is the heartbeat of Nigeria's future. Yet challenges persist: limited finance, outdated methods, policy gaps, and untapped opportunities. The Green Line is here to change that. A groundbreaking weekly television feature that connects policy with practice, farmers with markets, and innovation with impact. We dig deep into the full agricultural value chain, from land preparation to mechanization, financing, food preservation, exports, and beyond. The Green Line isn't just a show, it's a national development platform. Join me every Friday at 11 a.m. only on Rapid TV, Star Times Channel 176, and online at www.rbnradiotv.com.
Nigeria's economy, the global markets. What does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the Main Street and, of course, the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Businessless with me, Faith Dafa-Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers of the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impact they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
From the heart of Africa, where dreams are born and passion is boundless, a new wave of talent rises. In La Liga, these extraordinary athletes are not just playing the game, they're transforming it.
Danny Rodriguez, the man chasing, it's Lamine Yamal! What a magnificent goal that
They
is!
shine on the world stage. Watch as they redefine football, inspire millions, and make history. La Liga, where dreams become reality.
Long before modern banking, vaults or even safety deposit boxes,